Let's talk about the building a B2B and B2C network and community. What are your advice for the audience here who are trying to starting their own companies and they dream of building the community B2C, B2B?
Growing a B2B2C company has its challenges. There can be a real tendency in a media landscape to try and operate through a kind of church and state model, in the sense of you keep your commercial team over here and your editorial team over there. For us, that's never really worked. It's really been a fully integrated approach is where we've had the best results. And that's really hard operationally, and it's really hard for certain departments and teams who are really cross-functional and kind of multifunctional. And there are big challenges there with how you can really prioritize and focus, because you're trying to grow a community on the one hand, but then also deliver for your partnerships on the other. There's a really interesting tension there, but my advice is lean into that tension and really find the magic of when those two worlds come together. We've had our best results, we've had our best and most exciting work when that B2B world is really interfacing directly with our B2C community, and they're coming together, and really that's really true movement building, right? And that's where we've really had our sweet spot and really driven those engagement and results.
What are the best results you're referring to right now with this B2B interacting with B2C?
Well, there's two things I was really referring to. One, in terms of the stories that we're creating. So when we're really bringing brand, NGO, filmmaker, storyteller, and audience feedback together to create a more compelling project, I think that's certainly what gets us excited. It's far less about the vision of one creative and much more about this kind of holistic collective. What's the problem we're trying to solve? What's the impact we're trying to create? And how do we get there together as a group? We've got some really exciting projects coming up with some of our long-standing brand partners like Jack Wolfskin, and some of our big foundation partners like Foundation Conservation Carpathia, and how we can bring those two worlds together because they have a shared goal. And that for me is something that I really want to champion more and get more and more people around the world doing. Don't just try and produce content for a client. Try and bring other collaborations, co-produce, co-finance, really work as collaboratively as you possibly can. So that's one area. And then, of course, on the campaign side, Gilles, just how we can bring stakeholder groups together, how we can tap into that collective brain power, that collective kind of juice that really just generates so much of a different philosophy and really brings people out from a way of thinking that may be very one-dimensional and challenges you in a really exciting way. And again, I refer to our Matar campaign, when we work with some incredible NGOs, a couple of amazing brands, an incredible film team, local partners, international partners. And it's definitely challenging, and it takes time and it costs money, but the output is always definitely better.
I love frameworks. That campaign example, how is it organized on your side? How do you have this fully integrated approach from the beginning to decide that you think are innovative, that some companies are not doing at the moment, or that other people listening to here can be inspired from?
The way I'd really answer that is actually one word, which is trust. I think that's how we try to run our business. It's not about us coming into a campaign setting or assembling a stakeholder group and then trying to force our will or editorial vision or control into the process, which I think lots of creatives and filmmakers really feel. They almost lose that identity in the project because the guys who are footing the bill are really domineering and create a little bit of a rod for their back. I think for us, it's about really taking time in the early days to find the best trusted partner who really knows the subject, and then really empowering them to make the best film they possibly can. Now, of course, we offer our opinion. Of course, we offer feedback. We have creative reviews. We have all the things that you would normally do, and I'd like to hope add value. But I think for me, the key framework is about fundamentally spending time to assemble that group in the right way, and then trusting them to deliver. And of course, if they don't, then that's a different story. But we haven't really faced that because we really do our research, we really do our due diligence. Often the film teams that we're working with or the campaign teams are the pros, are the specialists, right? The NGOs who work in that space. We tell stories across almost every genre of factual content. There's human rights, there's climate change, there's oceans, there's deep sea mining. We can't be experts in everything, Gilles, of course not. So really the only way our framework works is if we find people that we trust and we enable them to do what they're great at. And that's something that we will continue to do for many, many years, I think. In terms of the model, it's value alignment, right? As long as you find the brand who really understands what we're trying to do from a values perspective and is not trying to figure out how they can shoehorn brand placements and product placements and all stuff into the film, as long as you find, and that's what our role is, right, is to play that connector and facilitator from a production process, and of course provide the wrapping and financing and expertise, particularly in impact, that really makes the project come to life. Finding trustworthy partners over the long term from all around the world is the core of our network. That's right. Why actually sometimes we do like the phrase WaterBear network, because it's not just a media network, right? It's a network of NGOs, over 150. It's a network of people. It's a network of filmmakers, storytellers. There's just networks on networks. And for me, networks and communities, that's the future of everything. Relationships, right? That's really the definition of humanity in my view.
If you found this part useful, listen to the full episode to learn how brands need to adopt a new way of telling stories for the future, what is the revenue stream of a free content platform, and how do you measure real impact in media. Follow the link in the description for the full episode with Sam.